It's Rob Morris with NPR News That Matters. In the Mobile Pirate Radio studios, we have Mr. Rusty Glover running for Senate seat in District 34 here in Alabama. Rusty, thank you for coming by and spending
Thank you,
some time.
Rob. Good to be here with you.
Well, listen, you've held this seat before, I understand, and now you want to run again. Why is that?
Well, I served for 3 terms, and my 2 predecessors, Hap Myers and Ann Bedsole, served 3 terms and got out. So I got out of the Senate, ran for lieutenant governor, and everything was going great. We were leading in the polls until a millionaire and then a billionaire got in the race, and I was outspent 10-1 and 11-1. So it was real tough to overcome that, and it was very disappointing back in 2018. But I already started missing being in the Senate, and I was in 2022. The current senator that took my place, Jack Williams, told me that he was going to run statewide in 2026. So at that point, I made my decision that I was going to try to get back in there. We had about 7 or 8 very conservative senators in the state Senate. They all left at the same time, creating kind of a void.
All of them.
They did. I wouldn't say all the conservatives left, but 7 of them did leave, and it was one of them got beat, and the rest of them either retired or ran for some other office. And that's what I did. I ran for a different office, and I'm the only one of the 7 that's attempting to get back in.
Okay.
And I'm looking forward to serving. And the key word is serving. You know, I think most of the people going up to Montgomery, their intention is to serve, and some of them goes the opposite direction. And I proved to the people in the years I served that I was there to serve them. I answered all my phone calls, and I listened to their problems and helped them in different ways. So constituent services is very important. Yes, I had a very conservative voting record. I was in the top 5 every year, sometimes higher up than that. But helping people get caught up in the bureaucracy of the state. You know, the state bureaucracy will pose a problem for hardworking taxpayer people and need problems. And so I was happy to not only take their call, but to work hard to try to help them in those settle their problems with state government. You know, we wasn't always able to help and be successful. Sometimes those that called, constituents, they were in the wrong. You know, we do the best we could and at least show them some attention. But more times than not, we helped them. And you call the state office and you get a recording, and they feel like they get the runaround. Well, they call their legislator, and the legislature on behalf of them gets in touch with the state department leaders and making sure that my constituents get an ear, get attention.
Well, what are some of the things you want to do in District 34 this time around?
Well, I think continuing to do constituent services, helping people in their problems. But there's some issues out there. In education, I find it more times than not, a lot of these graduates from high school, they don't have any life skills as far as, not a lot of people, well, they don't know how to write a check, that's for sure, but people don't pay with checks much anymore. But there's a lot of different things that they need to know about mortgages, insurance, things that they're not really taught in school. I think there needs to be some sort of a course before you graduate in life skills that people can find out some of these things without having to learn it the hard way. I was also talking with a farmer actually not in the district, but in Mobile County, and he has a program for veterans, but folks returning from combat and their service, and it's a program to help them start with farming, getting into farming.
Yeah. It's
good for mental health, and it can be profitable if they can get on the right foot. And of course, it's tough to get into farming. It's a lot of folks are getting out of it. But this is a program. He taught me through it, and I'm sold on it. I think it's a good program, and I want to do what I can to help this program for vets in farming.
So not just kids learning in high school about civics, also learning about these life skills.
That's right.
As well.
And it's so important, because I'll admit, for instance, both of my daughters did very well in school, A students, but then some of the things that'll shock you that, you just assume that kids know about things, and they don't. And it's very important that there's some sort of instruction out there for them so that when they get out of high school, they can make it on their own. And there's some things that you can put in there like like a lot of them go off to school, and instead of going to say a community college and that folks can afford or they can afford, they go off to the 4-year school, run up big debts, and they're paying for those debts for many years. And I got a bad feeling that a lot of them have not been counseled on that's a potential problem for them.
Especially with AI
Right.
coming
Yeah.
in.
It's just so many life skills that are out there. I don't know if there's a curriculum out there, but we could look at some other states and see what they're doing to help kids. And it doesn't have to even be a full year, just a semester that those kids can learn, pick up on some things that they need for life skills.
I think also it would be a good thing in each community to have like community college that teach you the trades,
Right.
plumbing, electrical, HVAC.
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. So many of our students, they're going off to the big 4-year schools for the prestige. They have a football team or whatnot. They're fans of the football team, so they're going to the schools, and they're not getting. They're coming out with degrees that they can't really use.
Exactly.
Whereas at some of these trade schools, or what we used to call trade schools, vocational schools, they have welding. There are all kinds of welding jobs in the Mobile area that they can make big money.
Exactly.
A lot more money than I ever made with my 4 college degrees. Maybe 3 times more money than what I made with 4 degrees. So plumbing, welding, those are some big time paying jobs.
And especially with AI coming in, I mean, coding, computer coding,
Yes.
and all this.
Yes.
It's not going to be any room for that. So
Right.
you got to think on other terms of other ways to make a living.
Right.
And starting out young, making that kind of money,
Yes.
you can buy a home, you can raise a family,
That's right.
quite comfortably making that kind of money.
That's right. And like I say, it's big money, and it's more money than I ever made.
Well, full disclosure, y'all, I did work in construction, HVAC.
Mm-hmm.
I helped build Government Plaza, put the air conditioning there in Providence Hospital when it was being built. So, back in the day, I did make pretty good money until I became disabled. Now I just do a podcast. But now there's something going on at Big Creek Lake I'd like to talk to you about.
Yes. It was as most everyone knows, it was closed to fishing. It really kind of hurt hard for me personally because my youngest grandson, he had only been out maybe once or twice. His father, my son-in-law, took him fishing in their boat. They purchased a boat to go fishing. Where did they fish? They fished in Big Creek Lake. There's not really any other place they were going. And they haven't been out since because that was the place that they went. That was Big Creek Lake. Generations of families have gone there, and then it was shut down. It's just outrageous that it was shut down. And a lot of things are coming out that maybe it's not as for environmental reasons, it's for other reasons. And hopefully it will eventually be opened up sooner than later to families to fish. And the idea of having you have a boat, you purchased a boat for your family, but then to go fish at Big Creek Lake you have to rent a boat. That's unacceptable.
It's a money-making scheme,
totally,
I think.
Yeah, it's totally unacceptable to have to rent a boat when you already have a boat.
When they talk about the boats possibly contaminating Big Creek Lake, I argue that any terrorist, domestic terrorist, anybody that want to do some harm to Big Creek Lake could just stop by on the bridge and off 98 and just pour some stuff or dump some stuff into the water.
I even heard that some of the migrating birds could be more
detrimental
than
the boats, whatever the boats bring in.
may have, yes.
Yeah. So you going to help out with that?
Yes, if it takes legislation, yes. There was legislation last year. It was introduced late in the session, not really enough time to get it done. Hopefully, the legislation that's been introduced or will be introduced in the upcoming days will be successful, and that maybe they can get folks out with their little boys and girls out there fishing. And we have fishing teams, high school fishing teams, like say Mary Montgomery fishing team. Where else are you going to fish? Big Creek Lake. That's where you send them out. That's where you have practice, and it's been shut out, and it's just been a real shame. And I would look forward to folks getting back on them.
Well, I'm sure there's some other things that you would get into if you were elected, right?
Oh, yeah.
And you're gonna be in the primary coming up this May.
Yes, the primary is where it'll be decided May 19th. And what's sad is that so many people look, it's just a primary, I'll just go for the general election. Well, in Alabama, everything is in the primary. In the general election, yes, they may be a Democrat candidate, but they're not going to get more than 30 or 40%. it's all decided pretty much for the constitutional offices, and most legislative offices are decided in the primary, and we've been having 12 to 17% turnout in the primaries, and that's a shame.
We need more people to vote. Yeah,
That means
vote.
each and every one of the people that show up, of that 12 to 17%, they have a lot of weight in their vote, because if they're the only ones out there, it's a high proportion of the power of the vote is with them.
All right, well, folks, Rusty Glover here, running for State Senate seat 34, District 34.
Yes, sir.
Covers West Mobile.
Yes, and I would be appreciative of your support and your vote May 19th. Thank you.
Be sure to vote, people. Thank you for joining us. I'm Rob Morris from Mobile Pirate Radio.